So TLC 2013 is coming up on Sunday, and I find myself kind of riding the fence here. And here's what I mean. On the one hand, the smartass Schleg Daddy sees a lot to love about this show and a lot to make fun of on this show. As sometimes, I know most people don't necessarily get entertained the same way that I do necessarily. You know, if I sit there and say something was bad, 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 sometimes that could be more entertaining to me than something that's really good, good, good. That doesn't make my way of being entertained any more or less significant or important than anybody else's. But there are lots of potential train wreck elements to this I just see encompassed in this show. A few months ago, I was enjoying a lot of the things that the WWE was doing. I thought they were I was very hopeful that they were starting to get on a roll, even though I knew better deep down inside. The cynical part of the Schleg Daddy says, give me a freaking break here. It's not going to last. And it didn't. It's right back to a lot of the same old crap we've seen for the past several years. But there was that couple month stretch where I was very happy. I was very pleased. And I was very excited about a lot that what WWE is doing. I find myself on this show where, on the one hand, I'm looking at it and seeing the possibilities for all these train wreck components and these moments that are so bad that it transcends and becomes incredibly entertaining to me to where I could really enjoy this show. Where on the flip side, I just really don't give a fuck about it. I mean, I really don't. I'm just incredibly amazed how, in a few months' time, the WWE took me from being very, very hot on their product to being very, very not on their product. And that's just the way I see it, and that's just the way it is. And I think TLC 2013 to me is a perfect example of that. First of all, let's clear up something here. If you were going to have a gimmick pay per view, you may disagree with me, whatever, but I personally think it is incredibly ridiculous and stupid when it is TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs, to have only one match on the entire card tie into any or all of those gimmicks or components whatsoever. This is not like Money in the Bank. This is not like Elimination Chamber. You have three different potential possibilities. Three different potential possibilities for stipulation matches. Technically, you could say four or even more if you want to get really creative. You could do a table match, a ladder match, a chair match, or a TLC match. You've got one. Is the WWE really that concerned with what they're presenting to you and offering to you at the top of the card in the main event that they don't want anything else overshadowing it? Would a Divas ladder match between Natalya and AJ really take that much shine and luster off of Randy Orton versus John Cena in a TLC match? Would CM Punk versus The Shield in a table match really take away from that match? Would a Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family chair match really take away anything from the main event? No, I wouldn't think it would. I think if anybody really argues that, then I would counter with, well, then how good is your main event? If you're that worried about a table match or a ladder match or a chair match overshining and overshadowing a table, ladders, chairs match in the main event, then, ladies and gentlemen, you have bigger problems here with TLC 2013. When I look at this show, man, it leaves me feeling a lot of disappointment because it feels like it could be so much more. Now, there is the honest possibility of having some really good matches on this card. And for those of you that know that you only care about the in-ring stuff, then you might very well end up being very amused and entertained by this. I don't want to sit there and say in-ring work doesn't matter at all, because it does. I don't think it's the most important thing, nor is it the only thing that we should base our enjoyment off of, but I'm not everybody. And I understand that some of you, that's all you really do care about. Even if you say you don't, you really do. Well, this show does have the potential to give you that. You've got a Divas match between AJ and Natalya. This could be better than your regular run-of-the-mill Divas match. You've got two 3-on-1 handicap matches. And while I think it's incredibly stupid that there are more handicap matches on this damn show than there are tables, ladders, chairs matches, I'm sure a lot of you are going to enjoy a 3-on-1 match between CM Punk and The Shield and then Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family. Here's what I find kind of funny. I'm sitting there, and part of the thing is we're supposed to be able to sit there and not know what's going to happen, and it's not supposed to be incredibly predictable. I find it very funny because you look at it, it's Daniel Bryan versus three members of the Wyatt family. It's CM Punk versus three members of the Shield. In any realistic circumstance, in a straight up pinfall handicap match, how would you expect either one of those two guys to be able to win and beat three opponents? But it's ironic, isn't it, on the flip side? If John Cena was facing the Shield and Randy Orton was facing the Wyatt family, you'd have no doubts about it. You would question the believability of the Shield beating John Cena or the Wyatt family beating Randy Orton, and you know I'm fucking right. You know it's true. And if you put Triple H versus all six, the three members of the Shield and the Wyatt family, you'd be sitting there and rooting for the Shield and the Wyatt family because you know they have no fucking chance against God. Let's face it, flat out. I just find that it's very funny. You know, you can't sit there and have both CM Punk and Daniel Bryan lose at this pay-per-view, can you? I would have to guess if I was leaning at this point between one of the two baby faces winning their match, you might be more likely to see CM Punk win his match against the Shield because this is maybe where Ambrose splits off from him or Reigns goes his own way or maybe Rollins turns and goes his own way and then maybe he only has to wrestle one or two of them or something else happens. I could see more elements that would lead me to believe that CM Punk would actually win here as opposed to Daniel Bryan beating the Wyatt family. Although I would argue that in this case, it really shouldn't be about pinfalls when it comes to Daniel Bryan. He should be going out there and losing his mind. He should be going out there and snapping completely like a Ken Shamrock, somebody like that, and go batshit crazy and get himself disqualified and just completely destroy the Wyatt family. It wouldn't bury the Wyatt family because the Wyatt family sure as hell is not on Daniel Bryan's level at this point. If anything, it would make a lot of storyline sense. You know, this is a guy that was taken by him and he's been beat down by him repeatedly. So now he snaps. He fucking starts hitting everybody with chairs and kendo sticks and whatever the hell else. Screw the stipulations. You know, like I said, this is TLC. You got 2 3-on-1 handicap matches. That's stupid. So fuck it. If you're not going to incorporate the gimmicks of the pay-per-view and the damn matches on the pay-per-view, then just go batshit with it. Damian Sandow versus Big E Langston IC title match. I frankly give about this much shit about it. It's kind of sad to me that as soon as Big E Langston was turned babyface, he's just basically become, you know, the same type of WWE watered down cookie cutter corporate vanilla babyface. He's talking about, oh, I respect him and he's a great competitor. Nah, man. Why do we have to have baby faces like that? You know, here's the whole thing. It's not every character should be the same. Not every heel should work the same. Not every baby face should be exactly the same. That's why guys don't stand out. That's why they don't get their personalities over. That's why their characters, their gimmicks, their shticks don't get over. If everybody's the fucking same, then what the hell's the difference? That's what I don't get here. And then, of course, ultimately, all that really matters on this show, to the WWE and to everybody. This time it counts, brother. World Heavyweight Champion John Felix Anthony Cena versus WWE Champion Randall Keith Orton. Admit it, is a sizable contingent of you watching this video right now that fully expect and believe that Triple H is walking out with the title at the end of the night. Why not? I've got so much to say about this match, and I've done my own video about it, and you'll see it soon enough, talking about the stupidity of John Cena versus Randy Orton right here, right now. But you know, it was like the WWE was going on this certain track, and they were going with Daniel Bryan against Triple H and Randy Orton, and now we've just completely dropped that. You had Big Show, he was broke, the McMahons were making him do his bidding, their bidding against his will, and then all of a sudden we've just completely gone away from that. And you go from having one little tease, you know, after Cena's match at Survivor Series to that's how the show ends to now we're full bore into this, heading into TLC. Look, I'm all in favor of unifying the belts. The brand split ended years ago. Having 2 world titles is stupid the way the company is currently constructed, no question about it, period. The time has come to have only one world champion. It does make sense for the way the WWE and their talent roster and their shows are currently constructed and configured, and that's a fact. You can talk about, well, the Raw and SmackDown live events and all that. You know what? How much are those champions really drawing anyways? Usually when you think about it from a live event standpoint, it's traditionally and typically the WWE brand name now over the past several years that draws more than any one single performer. You need one champion. You need one champion. And it's sad to me because this match could have been a certain level of epic. It really could have. This is something that you could have cultivated and built towards during a period of time. And I think a lot of you would agree. While you're tired of seeing Cena versus Orton and you were burnt out on it in 2007 and 2009, believe me, I've been there, I've done that. On the flip side, I've suggested many times before that these guys needed to face off again. These are arguably the two biggest stars of their particular generation. So it would, in theory, make sense that if you're going to put two guys in a spot to unify your belts, it might as well be the two biggest stars in your company today, the two biggest, most well-established guys in their generation. It might as well be. I just can't believe that they rushed it like this. I just can't believe that they got to it this quickly. I just can't believe that yet again, we're not, at least from the outside looking in at this point in time, they're not going to go with John Cena versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. If you were going to do all of this, why not do it then? Or why not just have these two face off in a match for no titles? Just to see who was the best of their generation, who really was the man at WrestleMania 30. And we're getting it here at TLC. I don't really see how this pay-per-view is going to do that much better in terms of pay-per-view buys compared to the last couple of years of TLC. I don't see where it's going to do so much better than Survivor Series. So why sit there and have this big title unification right here, right now? If you wanted to say, well, we weren't going to wait till Mania, okay, why not have it at the Royal Rumble then? I'm just saying. And for those of you that say, well, the Royal Rumble is a gimmick match and that's the only one on the show, yeah, but that is entirely different, and you guys damn good and well know it. Primarily because, one, winner gets a world championship shot, and you'll say, well, what about Money in the Bank? Two, the Money in the Bank matches don't last 60 minutes or longer like the Royal Rumble match does every freaking year. And this is a gimmick pay-per-view that goes back 25 freaking years and has been well established every year that this is what you get. You get some other matches, and then you get the freaking Rumble. And that is the show. That is the event on that show. So it's an entirely different thing, in my opinion. I really hope that TLC is good. I really, really do. I know some of you have trouble believing that, but I really want this pay-per-view to be good. I want it to surprise me. I have those reservations about it. 2 3-on-1 handicap matches. I think it's stupid. IC title match that, I don't know, does anybody really give a shit about? A Divas match that, frankly, you have enough story and intrigue there with the Total Divas versus Non-Total Divas, AJ versus Natalya, two of the best in-ring performers in the Divas division today. You could have made this a tables match or a ladder match. That would have been very cool to see. And these two girls probably would have went out there and cut it up with that type of match to the point where they might have delivered a surprising match of the year candidate, like top 10, top 15 match of the year in the WWE. No question. It just seems like this pay-per-view was kind of plopped together. They just went with this and threw this together and threw this at the dartboard and this at the wall, and they're hoping that everything sticks. And as much as I come on here sometimes and shit on this company, and they deserve it, ultimately, I do hope that this does go well. I hope they don't sit there and give us a screwball finish at the main event of TLC. You can only piss off the people so many times before they stop tuning in. You can't sit there and screw the people and give them a squirrely-ass stupid finish in the main event of TLC. You can't. I would assume at this point that Randy Orton's going to win. I would assume. Who knows? I mean, you could say, well, yeah, but Cena doesn't have to be pinned. He could, he could fall off the ladder or go through a table or this or that. Yeah, but it's still John Cena, man. Now, here's the intrigue, though. You could sit there and flip this around, and you could sit there and say, you have Randy Orton win now, and then you have John Cena win the belt back at Royal Rumble, and by God, that's another title reign for John Cena. So fuck it. You know what? That might be the philosophy that this company goes with, for all I know. Because once again, keep in mind, the only thing that really truly matters to the WWE at this point is two things. One, making just enough money to be able to pay all their bills and hopefully not have to dig too far into the money that's in the bank to pay out the dividends to the shareholders. Number two is to do everything they can to fully cement John Cena's place as the greatest superstar, in their opinion, in the history of professional wrestling. If you feel like there's anything else going on at this point, reassess what you're believing and what you're seeing. I promise you, brother, that's the agenda here at this point. Oh God, TLC 2013. Let's tee it up Sunday and see what the hell happens. They gave us Cena versus Orton.